Imagine this: shopping malls, those sprawling complexes filled with every article of clothing you could possibly imagine, where the scent of freshly baked pretzels wafts through the air, and you're constantly approached by vendors trying to sell the latest as seen on TV products. You might hear a faint fountain in the distance or a child crying from not getting to ride on the coin slot rides. What an experience! Malls encapsulate the economic, cultural, and technological zeitgeists of their era. The design and architectural ethos of malls have significantly influenced consumer behavior and the retail landscape globally. From the grandiose, opulent shopping centers in affluent parts of Asia to the sprawling, convenience focused malls in North America, the architecture of malls serves as a physical manifestation of societal values and economic conditions. There's a stark contrast emerging when examining the trajectory of malls in America compared to those in Asian countries. While American malls are facing a notable decline, Asian malls are experiencing growth and increased relevance. This divergence can largely be attributed to differences in architectural designs, purpose, and adaptations, which have played critical roles in their respective retail landscapes. So today, on this episode of Unraveling Design, let's discuss the differing architectural designs, purposes, and adaptations that play critical roles in the decline of malls in the West and their successes in the East, reflecting broader cultural and economic shifts in these regions. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Unraveling Design podcast. I'm your host, Natalie Perry. Let's just jump right in. Let's start by dissecting the downfalls of malls in the West, more specifically in America. The inception of American malls in the mid 20th century mirrors the country's post-war prosperity and automotive boom, leading to the development of large, car-centric shopping centers in suburban areas. These malls were characterized by their inward-looking, fortress-like designs, prioritizing space and convenience for the car-owning public. However, this architectural philosophy has struggled to evolve in a way that meets the changing desires and needs of the modern consumer. According to a report by Credit Suzy, it is estimated that 25% of American malls will close by 2022. This report was crafted back in 2017, and it's a testament to their declining relevance and the failure of their architectural models to adapt to new retail paradigms. This decline is not merely economical, but deeply rooted in the architectural obsolescence of the American mall model. Sure, the pandemic helped this process along as we've seen several mall closures. However, even years before the pandemic, malls were slowly becoming ghost towns. It felt incredibly empty and cold. Recent years have seen a substantial decline in the physical retail spaces across the United States, with major mall closures signaling a transformation in consumer shopping preferences. From 2017 through 2022, an average of 1,170 shopping malls closed each year. This marked decrease was due to various factors, including the rise of e-commerce, changes in consumer behavior, and the economic impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. An alarming statistic highlights the struggle faced by traditional retail spaces. On average, vacant malls end up selling at 43% below their original acquisition price. Furthermore, in 2021, the average high-end mall vacancy rate was reported at 11.4%, demonstrating the challenges that even premium retail spaces face in the current market. Given these closures, the transformation of American malls is evident, emphasizing a pivot from traditional shopping centers to mixed-use developments that diversify the purpose and appeal of these expansive structures. But where did the shopping malls come from? The 1950s really gave birth to American malls. Long story short, the middle class had a lot of extra cash to spend on non-essential items. With suburban sprawl outward caused by a car manufacturing boom, the majority of middle class worked in the city. So to summarize, people would just go to work in the city, commute home to the suburbs, right? But what were people meant to do outside of work and home life? Where could people potentially go to congregate and share public spaces together? Today, one can argue that social media fulfills this purpose. And to be perfectly honest, we truly lack a third place. This generation lacks a third place. That's another topic to potentially discuss later. Back in the 50s, though, these third places were bars, restaurants, parks, drive ins, and of course, malls. Now, the need for spaces to congregate and create a sense of community life is not novel. Remaining ancient Greek and Roman architecture just show public building programs were designed centuries ago to foster a better sense of community. Medieval times had marketplaces. There were town squares in ancient cities. Human beings, as social beings, crave for this sense of community. The first mall in America, Southdale, was designed by an Austrian Jewish architect, Victor Gruen. He viewed grand shopping complexes as indoor cities. His first mall was 800,000 square feet, located in Edina, Minnesota. As Gruen detested cars, thinking that they were a threat to human life and health, the idea behind malls was to incorporate lengthy promenades and far parking lots to foster the action of walking. He also added a lot of additional art installations, courtyards, fountains, and even bird sanctuaries. In his original proposal, he envisioned malls to include schools and residences, not only stores. Grew created a basis of design that was later copied and pasted rather quickly in the West. With the explosion of malls across America, Gruen's nightmare actually came to fruition, leading him to disown the title father of shopping malls. He genuinely hated what malls in America have evolved into such a capitalistic vehicle, once stating, "I refuse to claim responsibility for those bastard developments. They destroyed our cities." Now, let's flash forward to today. How has this copy paste design of malls led to its own downfall? This standardized model often features enclosed spaces connected by long corridors lined with stores, lacks uniqueness, and fails to adapt to changing consumer preferences. As a result, many malls have struggled to remain relevant in the face of competition from online shopping and more experiential retail spaces. Here are more specific aspects I'd like for you to consider. American malls often feature repetitive, generic designs with little room for adaptation for changing consumer preferences or technological advancements. This architectural rigidity limits their ability to evolve alongside retail trends, making them increasingly irrelevant. Car-centric designs. The sprawling nature of many American malls designed with automobiles in mind contribute to spatial inefficiency as urbanization trends change and value accessible city spaces increase. These designs have become unsustainable and economically unviable. The third thing I want you to consider is environmental disconnect. There is a pronounced environmental disconnect between the mall's interiors and their suburban contexts. American malls are typically enclosed spaces that turn their backs on the surrounding environment, failing to engage with it in any meaningful manner. The last point is failure to integrate digital technologies. Digital technologies reshape retail in American malls have been slow to architecturally integrate these technologies into physical spaces. Unlike their Eastern counterparts, which often feature digital interaction points and technologically driven experiences as part of their design, American malls have lagged behind, further contributing to their decline. The architectural decline of American malls is emblematic of a broader disconnect between their design principles and evolving demands of the retail landscape. In contrast, the thriving mall culture in Asian countries, for instance, supported by adaptable, technologically integrated, and community focused designs, suggest a path forward that involves way more than just retail. Malls in Asia have not only weathered the rising tide of e commerce, but have flourished. This success owes much to the resilient architectural design that characterized many of Asia's retail environments. Eastern malls often defy conventional typologies, offering a blend of culture, entertainment, and retail that turns them into urban landmarks. The Singaporean Ion Orchard, for example, presents an architectural marvel with its organic flowing facade that mimics the movement of people within. Be sure to look up some photographs. In Bangkok, Central World combines a sprawling shopping complex with a hotel, office tower, and a temple, encapsulating a microcosm of urban life. Now, in Singaporean and other Eastern malls, what are some of the primary drivers of success? First, they all embrace mixed use concepts. Singaporean malls have thrived by incorporating mixed use concepts, integrating residential units, office spaces, and recreational facilities. By doing so, these malls have become vital parts of day-to-day urban fabric, as seen in Raffles City in Singapore, designed by the esteemed architect I.M. Pei. In densely populated cities in Asia, malls rise to become vertical beacons of consumerism, showcasing architectural prowess that maximizes limited urban space. In Tokyo, for instance, the Ginza 6 is a prime example, serving as a mixed-use facility that also respects the area's dense urban context. American malls don't do this. And lastly, it is highly integrated with public infrastructure. Many Asian malls are seamlessly integrated with public transportation systems. This is a huge downside for Western malls, as majority are located in suburban locations. So for instance, Seoul's COEX Mall is directly connected to a subway station, facilitating easy access and high footfall, which is further complemented by its location underneath a convention center and hotel. Partly influenced by these design considerations in the East, it is clear that malls have evolved to become way more than just a retail space. It serves as a public square, community center, and cultural hub. So, for example, the K11 in Hong Kong not only houses luxury retail outlets, but also features art installations and exhibits, creating an environment where culture and commerce intersect seamlessly. So let's compare the two a little bit more. The spatial and functional aspects of these two regions matters. Asian malls, for instance, are intricately woven into the suburban environment, often designed as an integral part of a city's infrastructure, as opposed to many American malls, which are standalone structures designed with the presumption of car ownership. The integrated nature of Asian malls engulfs higher foot traffic and a steadily stream of customers. Influence on consumer behavior is another consideration. The design of malls in the East shape consumer behavior, encouraging longer visits and more extensive engagement with the space, a phenomenon less observed in Western malls, which feature more utilitarian mall designs. The immersive environment and experiential offerings of Asian malls, for instance, create a stronger consumer preference for the physical retail space over e-commerce. Lastly, the technological integration, which we already kind of discussed a little bit, but Asian malls typically integrate and incorporate technology not as an afterthought, but as a core aspect of their design. So for instance, features like augmented reality fitting rooms or an app-based navigation tool are becoming very commonplace, while in many American malls, they struggle to retrofit such technologies into these older, less adaptable spaces. By creating versatile, integrated, and technologically advanced spaces, malls offer valuable insights into the evolving role of multifunctional public spaces in urban landscapes. The retail landscape is undergoing a dynamic and transformative period, with architecture at the helm. Both Western and Eastern malls reflect this evolutionary process, albeit in different different ways, adopting innovative architectural trends in response to challenges and changing consumer behavior. So, what considerations are redefining such spaces? First and foremost, sustainability. American malls are increasingly incorporating green architecture, focusing on lower energy consumption, the use of sustainable materials, and the creation of green spaces. This not only attracts environmentally conscious consumers, but also reduces operational costs. Sustainability has definitely become a fan favorite of the average consumer. It's kind of a paradoxical statement, just given how we live in an over-consumption environment, but it's still a good instinct to integrate architecturally. The second is open air designs. To counteract the claustrophobia of traditional enclosed malls, new designs are favoring open air concepts that allow for natural light and ventilation and connection with the surrounding environment. This trend is exemplified in projects like The Grove in LA. Lastly, digital integration spaces. Tech hubs within malls are becoming extremely popular, offering spaces where visitors can interact with the latest gadgets and technology. This was first really successfully done by Apple, and then Microsoft, Samsung, they all kind of followed suit. But it's always fun to have that interactive experience with these latest gadgets before you purchase. The integration of e-commerce with physical spaces is also on the rise, enhancing the convenience of the shopping experience. And for Eastern Asian malls, they are taking it a step further, first and foremost by incorporating smart buildings. These malls are increasingly designed as smart buildings with automated systems for lighting, heating, cooling, reducing human intervention, and optimizing comfort and energy efficiency. We're also seeing a trend of vertical malls, with spaces at a premium, especially in dense urban areas. These malls are stacking up rather than spreading out. Iconic examples like the Shanghai IFC Mall display the efficiency and creativity of vertical retail spaces. They're also starting to integrate with cultural landmarks. Many Asian malls are incorporating or building adjacent to cultural landmarks such as theaters, museums, historical sites, offering shoppers a holistic cultural and social experience. The exchange of architectural philosophies and practices between Western and Eastern malls holds potential for a mutual revitalization. American malls could adopt multifunctionality and verticality, while Asian malls, for instance, can take cues from America's emerging focus on sustainability and more digital integration. This cross-pollination can usher a new era of global retail spaces that are environmentally conscious, technologically advanced, and just culturally relevant. The landscape of retail in America has witnessed such a significant shift, with mall closures becoming such a trend within the past decade. This phenomenon, often referred to as the quote, retail apocalypse, estimates that 25% of America's roughly 1,000 malls are expected to close by 2025. Between 2017 and 2019 alone, approximately 9,300 stores were closed in the United States, underscoring the challenges brick and mortar retail spaces face in an era of e-commerce. In contrast, Eastern countries in Asia have been experiencing a mall boom underscored by cultural, economic, and social factors unique to the region. For instance, China is leading the charge with an ambitious mall openings, having introduced the world's largest shopping mall, the New Century Global Center in Chengdu, spanning a staggering 1.7 million square meters. Moreover, despite the global pandemic, the APAC region saw a continued investment in mall constructions, with a notable example being the opening of Bangkok Mall in Thailand, set to be one of the largest in Southeast Asia. This divergence points to a dynamic shift in global retail trends where Eastern markets are capitalizing on the experiential and multifunctional aspects of malls, making them central hubs for social and cultural activities. Architectural design and innovation have proven pivotal in dictating the trajectory of malls in both contexts. These elements not only determine the structural embodiment of malls, but also influence the behavior and preferences of consumers. There is such a lack of third places in this day and age, and malls can become a wonderful alternative in Western countries if they just adapt. By embracing sustainability, technology, and mixed use functionality, malls can be transformed into vibrant, multi purpose hubs that can cater to a variety of social, cultural, and economic activities. This commitment to architectural evolution will be critical for malls to not only survive but thrive. I can personally speak to going to the mall in America in the early 2000s, and malls in America at this time thrived as a quintessential third place where communities just gathered for social interactions, entertainment, and leisure activities. I just remember calling my mom asking her to pick me up when I was ready to go after hanging out with friends after school. They were bustling hubs filled with vibrant stores, cool food courts, and just a lot of social spaces, attracting people of all ages. However, as the years progressed into the 2020s, many American malls just faced the challenges and never thought to make it more experiential. The rise of e commerce, specifically Amazon, just changed consumer preferences, and shifts in urban development led to such a decline of mall culture. And many malls just still to this day struggle to adapt to these changes, resulting in vacant storefronts and declining foot traffic. I think if American malls were integrate better public transit, if they were to integrate the experiential feeling that the original father of shopping malls, Victor Gruen, wanted to incorporate from the beginning, that would be awesome. There is this overall sense of abandonment in modern day malls in the West. And in order to combat that, we need to consider what consumers are actively looking for. There's a wave of younger generations online screaming that there's no third places, yet we have abandoned shopping malls left and right. By the 2020s, the once beloved malls really lost their appeal, and few people find them enjoyable or desirable places to visit. But I think with strong design instincts and integrating experiential aspects, we can solve this. So, this was the conclusion of episode 2. My name's Natalie Perry, the founder of Unraveling Architecture and Unraveling Design podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And now you have something cool to tell your cat about when you get home from work today. I can't wait to see you in the next episode.